Think outside the box, but don't color outside the lines. Think outside the box, but do exactly what I told you to do. Think outside the box, think outside the box, think outside the box, but sometimes thinking outside the box is not as black and white as it seems, especially when it comes to traditionalism and the good Indian girl culture, which is centered so strongly around core family values. Family values. Family. When you think about family, you think about your mom, dad, brother, sister, cousins, who knows? You think about the happy times you had when they took you to the hospital after you broke your leg while riding your bike, I don't know. Or like when they got you that pack of colored pencils you've wanted since the beginning of first grade. You love them. And then you remember how they told you that you were a fat pig for wanting to eat a meal that day. Or when they told you that you were a skank for wearing a sports uniform. And of course, you were stupid for wanting to achieve anything other than marriage. But you love them. Oh, you love them so much that it hurts. Because their ambitions, their thoughts, their opinions on you matter. And honestly, with the world moving as fast as it is today, people tend to forget that girls that are raised in these traditionalist values not only have a hard time trying to be different, but they have a hard time even thinking to think outside of the box because they know that they are going to receive judgment from not only others, but the people that they love. And honestly, it is not the judgment that hurts us. It's the fact that we're making the ones around us that we love hurt. That's kind of the salt on the wound, if you know what I mean. And that kind of sucks, to be very honest with you. The main idea here is simple, right? When it comes to traditionalism and the good Indian girl culture, everyone else's thoughts on you matter, except for yourself. Yourself, right? Now we're talking about you. So do me a favor. Let's say you had a very bad week at work or a very bad week at school. You know, we've had a lot of those. I just graduated, so yay, no more of that. But what do you expect yourself to be doing at around 4:30 a.m. on that Saturday morning? Probably not being woken up by your mother because your family from India called to complain to her about you. For what? Pictures. Let me explain, okay? So I am signed to an agency for my music and my acting, and just a couple weeks ago, I hit a major milestone, and I was actually on radio for the first time. So that was a huge deal, and it was down in North Hollywood, Wish 107.5, and it was amazing. It was a great experience. And interestingly enough, this conversation happened prior to this big day. It was when my manager decided to put me into modeling. So, you know, I kind of know how to be in front of a camera, and I don't pose like a dead crane. You know, it was necessary because I was very awkward. So I was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, I went to a workshop and we learned how to pose, and then later I had a photo shoot for my up-and-coming album, and this was that photo. Okay, this was that photo. Got it. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing an oversized Puma jacket with some boots and my mid-thigh showing. Let me tell you, that mid-thigh has caused me a lot of trouble. Enough for my family in India to call my mom and, you know, tell her that I was a disappointment and a slag. But honestly, it is nothing new because I've been told to never come back home because my viewpoints did not align with my family's. I have been told to give up on ambitions from close friends because that's stupid and so don't do it. And of course, my vocabulary has grown immensely. And it's very colorful now by the amounts of things that people have told me for wanting to wrestle as a girl. Big whoop there, right? So, yes. It is definitely something that is faced on a day-to-day basis. Now, let's go back a little bit, okay? So, when it comes to traditionalism and the good Indian girl culture. There are people out there, okay? It is 2019, ladies and gentlemen, and there are people out there that are still being forced to be married at an early age. There are girls in parts of Asia and Africa that are forced to be married at an age as young as 7 to older men. It is 2019, ladies and gentlemen, and girls are still being told that they are stupid for wanting independence and an education, which, may I add, when it comes to traditionalist values, is very outside of the box to want education and independence. It is 2019, ladies and gentlemen, and people are still judging girls by their outward appearance instead of what they have to say. Now, in places such as Somalia, parts of Mali, Djibouti, there are places like this where girls are actually told to sew themselves up in order to save their virginity for marriage. Because as a traditionalist value, it is greatly regarded both on the bride's side as well as on the husband's side. There are so many written and unwritten rules, that keep girls back in the day and now trapped in this box of traditionalism, okay, with chains that are being added for every year that they grow older. I mean, gosh forbid, that these girls start gaining some confidence in these years of growing. I mean, I wish I was joking about things like this, but I'm honestly not. Because when we talk about traditionalism, okay, on jagare.com, which is a pre-activism website, many people have stated that the perfect girl is somebody whose values and decisions are still solely based on her home and her family. It is not a surprise that 70% of modern Indian women, okay, face physical as well as sexual abuse. And more than 50% of the adult population, let me say that again, more than 50% of the adult population believes that this is justifiable. Take a minute to let that sink in. Now, you tell me, okay, if girls are being bound in this box of traditionalism, okay, with chains of doubt, with chains of worry, and with chains of just self-hatred, how are they supposed to think out of the box? How? You break it. Yes, it is great to think outside the box. It's great to think about what you could have said, what you could have been, but you need to do it. What did you say? What did you become? And honestly, these traditions and these chains that I've been talking about, this isn't anything new. We all know that. This has been going around since forever. I mean, a good example of this is the word ladylike from the Victorian era and the way it was used, or the cult of domesticity in the 19th century, and of course, the good Indian girl culture. Yes, it is definitely great to think outside, but don't be afraid to break the box that you're trapped in. Because you know what? I understand. It's going to be scary. It's going to suck. It is going to make you feel, it's going to make you feel guilty. But the things that you achieve, the self-innovations that you get afterwards, is so going to be worth it. Thank you.